Hey everyone, it's Ray from the Teach Better team, and I'm joined by the incredible Adam who just hosted Mastery Chat. We have so much to talk about because there was just a fire over on Twitter with the participation with Mastery Chat. Adam asked so many good questions that fostered so much reflection. I cannot wait to dig into your brain a little bit, Adam, to get into all these details. As you are popping in for this recap, make sure you throw your name in the comments. Tell us what you thought of the chat. And if you weren't able to join us, don't worry. We're going to break it all down here. So we'll be right back. Let's get ready for this epic conversation. Dude, you just killed Mastery Chat, and I'm like so proud. That was so
thanks.
fun.
It was big for me.
It was a big deal. I can't actually wait to talk about this because, guys, okay, so Adam and I were like, before we went live, chit-chatting, and I'm like, oh my God, that was such a good chat. I cannot wait to go live with you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch and like break that all down because people were really loving the content. Adam goes, thanks. It was my first one. And I'm like, what? Adam, I can't believe that was the first chat you ever hosted. You should like either off camera or on camera. At some point tonight, you're going to need to be like, nice job, buddy.
Before I go to bed, I'll cry.
There we go. It's so good. Adam, before we get into the conversation of the chat, we already have so many people saying how wonderful it was. Would you mind sharing just like, who are you? What do you do in education? Kind of those pieces about your background before we get too far in.
Well, I'm a 4th and 5th grade social studies, reading teacher. And I grew up in Cleveland. I was teaching high school for many, many years, and I just loved it. But then I was trying to find something full time, so couldn't find anything. So somebody said, just look anywhere, doesn't matter. So I saw 5th, 6th position, went for that one, moved on to a different school. I'm teaching 4th, 5 at community St. School in Cleveland Heights, and I just love that grade level, and I probably would love to stay at that level rather than go back to high school.
Yeah,
so
right.
And I'm a Teach Better ambassador, and this group has been so supportive of me, and I love it.
Oh my God, Adam, I've loved getting to know you, but especially as you've been a Teach Better ambassador, like whether it be the Voxer group or the Facebook group or all the different special things that our Teach Better ambassadors get to do together, you have just constantly been somebody that is full of ideas and is so supportive. And when I saw your name on Mastery Chat host list for this month, I was like, dude, you know this is going to be good because Adam's involved.
So, thank you.
So cool. So obviously, I mean, you said that your background education was kind of like this long story of I thought high school and then I found this love for, upper elementary. What from your experience sparked the topic for Mastery Chat tonight? Because remember, we have a lot of people jumping in, not only saying how great the chat was, but also people who may not have been a part of the chat. Maybe they were busy for the last hour and they're just catching this recap. So what was the topic and why was that the topic right now?
This school year has been pretty heavy in so many different ways. I mean, we've been remote, we could be in person, we could be, hybrid, who knows what we could be next week or anything, even tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So I figured all the times we've had have been pretty strong, pretty deep into how can we do this, how can we do that. I'm like, we need to relax. We need to take some time for ourselves. We need to slow ourselves down and say, what can we do to become a better person for ourselves, for our families, and leads into a better person for our students and school communities. So I said, let's just slow down to start saying, what can we do just to take a deep breath and let ourselves go a little bit?
Can I make the connection that while it was relaxing and it gave people deep reflection, time to breathe, the chat was going so fast that I don't know that I ever really felt fully relaxed, but in like the best way possible.
Yeah, it actually, with going so fast, I was just sitting there going, I don't think I've ever had that many notifications in my thing in probably months, combined. So mm-hmm. Well, it was so fast paced, but the energy of the group just built up to say, we are going to continue to do great things for our schools. So let's go into break strong and come out even stronger from that.
Well, and that was really, I feel like, the message I needed, because so much of the conversations I've been involved in, whether it be with my own colleagues in the classrooms that I teach, or with the Teach Better Family Network, a lot of it has been like, okay, what are you doing to get through next week? All right, we just got to get to break. And I feel like this actually was a wonderful reminder that, yes, we still have some time left. We're still here to serve students, but you got to care about you. You can't be thinking, oh, I'm going to worry about myself in 2 weeks. But you need to start thinking about, like, what are you doing right now to support yourself? And a lot of great conversation came from that. There were tips and tricks shared the entire class, like
Right.
the entire hour.
Exactly how I felt. I'm going, a lot of this is, while we're so restricted on so many things we can do,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going out to see family or just going out to even malls or anything,
Yeah.
we still have to take that time to plan what we're going to do for ourselves. It's not
Yeah.
just like, tomorrow, let's go do this, because we need to start thinking, what are the actual options we have available for ourselves at the same time?
Oh, you're so right. So there was a lot we could dive into. And like we just shared right now, I mean, there were so many things that were shared as tactical takeaways that you could go do tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, this weekend. Was there a question that you asked that you were either really excited to see what the response would be, or maybe a little anxious, like, ooh, I don't know if this question's going to land?
I think the one was more about how you're going to support or even like challenge another person.
Oh,
Because to me, going, a lot of times we look within ourselves. Everybody's going, how can we just start focusing on our self-care? But we need to start saying, how can we help others with their self-care? Because we're a group community where, I mean, everything we do is together. So I'm trying to think, I want to see how people are going to react to, how can you challenge somebody else to do something? How can you support somebody else?
And can I just tell you how serendipitous this is, that this guy right here, Dr. Neil Gupta,
Yeah.
is constantly challenging me with this stuff. And every time he voxes me, I'm like, whatever, Neil, I'll take a break later. But he is constantly messaging me like, Ray, are you relaxing tonight? He's always holding me accountable for that stuff. So I love that you then asked people to do that same thing, because it really required some reflection. And then you got a buddy. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's the guy we can blame for getting me all involved with Twitter and everything, because way back from Ohio Ed Chat, he was the first one who started supporting me and just got me sucked into this stuff. So he's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me more about that, though, because everyone has their own Twitter story. I mean, you just hosted a chat for your first time, which, by the way, I cannot believe that was your first one, because I know that Twitter chats are so intimidating, and I kind of want to hear the backstory a little bit about how you prepared for this. But before we even get into this chat, how did you get on Twitter, and why did you get on Twitter?
Well,
Is it like a love-hate relationship? I have a love-hate relationship. Where are you at?
mine was, I was just a person that everybody needed to know what I was having for dinner. Everybody needed to know where I was going for, like, the store. Everybody did all that. And then all of a sudden, one day I was just sitting there and I saw a little comment, like a little tweet that said something about education. I'm like, I'm an educator. And it said this little hashtag. I'm like, what is that? Did a little click on it. I was like, whoa, there's a whole new world of Twitter that I never experienced. And so I started talking to Neil, started talking to Craig Broom, all these other educators from the Ohio area. I'm like, you're all local, you're all in my state, you're all part of this. So I started joining that, and all of a sudden I'm like, I guess nobody really cares about my dinner anymore, because now they want to know what I'm doing in education. So I'm like, so I just started going there. So I started doing blogging because of Neil and Craig and some other people. And I just started going down that road, and like, now I'm a Teach Better ambassador. So I think it all worked out.
Oh, it did absolutely work out. But I do just want to clarify any miscommunication, Adam. We do still care what you're eating for dinner. We just also want to know what you're doing in your classroom.
And my golf game.
There we go. And your golf game. That's fine. See, I like Neil's commenting, a little seed and then Adam is on fire. It's totally true. Totally true. So you've gone from growing through Twitter to then hosting your first chat, which I vividly, like it was yesterday, remember hosting my first chat. And I don't know about you, but I was very stressed. So where are you at in this preparation process?
I was pretty stressed. I mean, I'm thinking all day, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? When do I actually get down, sit on my computer? When am I going to do this? Then I'm like, actually, I would have been here a little bit earlier, but then also in my one computer has some technical issues. When I find the camera, so I'm like, this is all going to go downhill. I'm like, well, after a while, just fall into place and this works out. So Yeah, I was nervous all day. It was on my mind.
Yeah, it definitely worked out.
But then the other day I found out there was going to be you that I was going to talk to. I'm like, but I'm actually Team Jeff. But tonight I'll be Team Ray.
Whoa. Daggers are coming out. Hey, I want to see in the comments right now if you're Jeff or Team Ray. I'm not sure that I'm okay with this, Adam. I'm gonna need some support.
Well, it's the Ohio connection to those guys.
Adam, I'm willing to allow
I'll be Team Ray. I'll be Team Ray tonight.
Until you meet both of us in person, and then I know you'll pick the right team.
I have. All of them, yeah, but I think we need to have a sit-down debate with figure out which one's better for me.
I think that's fair. I did just mock up. I saw back in like the inner workings of Teach Better. I saw a Team Schmidto shirt, and we all know that we go Team Caitlin or Team Schmidto. So I'm very aware that I'm third on the list, but I'm definitely not fourth. Jeff is definitely below.
But Kaplan made the comment about Team Tink Tink, so that made you a little push to be Team Ray because that's Team Tink now.
Yeah, I won't lie. Look at this love. See, I don't even care. Adam, I guess it's all right because while I do really want you to be Team Ray, I also understand that I'm Team Adam. So you can choose your team. I'll take second in your mind, but that'll be fine.
If you're Team Adam, I'll be Team Ray. Then we'll balance each other out. That works.
Yes. See, guys, I got him. So, Adam, was there any like aha moments in this chat? You really challenged people. One of your favorite questions you highlighted a few minutes ago was not only this idea of holding yourself accountable for self-care, but challenging other people to do so, which I really find to be very much the Teach Better way, where we're not just doing things for ourselves, but we're finding ways that even when it's for ourselves, it's for others. Like that just always seems to be how our network operates. Was there other tweets or other comments you saw that you're like, wow, this really fostered great conversation or an aha moment for somebody they shared?
The major thing that I really was impressed with were so many key words that were really shared tonight, like vulnerable, gratitude, and then like they're so inspiring. There was one tweet that said like there was 4 R's, like rest, reset. It was like all that, like, whoa. I mean, like that's so quick. It's like a little mnemonic device. R's. Just remember all the R's that you need to do: rest, relax, reset. Do all these things just to make yourself refreshed to come back for the new year. So I was like, so many key words. I mean, I think that was for me the big thing were the words that were being shared tonight that we had to really focus on. And then I saw several like intentionals and be like, that's my word for 2021. That's my word. That's my word. So like everybody is already thinking about how can we start to prepare ourselves for the upcoming year.
I'm so glad about that. And I think your emphasis on people finding, whether it be words that they really hold on to or like phrases that can really inspire you to think a certain way, like the 3 R's. I think that's a beautiful way to continuously remind ourselves of things. I mean, people write Post-it notes of phrases and put them on their desk or get tattoos on their arm. And there's all these different strategies of like trying to remind you to center yourself. And I think that if you can find a phrase, either by going back in Mastery Chat and reading or simply a Google search, find something that works for you to really remind yourself to take time for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we are such in a hustle world this school year. I mean, switching from one thing to another. I mean, in my own situation alone, on a Friday, I told my kids again, because this happened in March, I said, see you Monday. Over the weekend, something happened. So my class had to be shut down. And then all of a sudden, our entire school had to be shut down until after Thanksgiving break. But I told the kids, see you Monday. And then one day, I was seeing them remotely. I'm like, that's the type of thing. It's like, it's switched in a matter of 2 days. 48 hours switched our entire school system. So now we're back to in person for the next hopefully 1 more week. And then we're going to see what happens after that. But it's like, we always had to switch. So we always had to be intentional with our words that we say to students. If we want the last thing we say to them, something negative. So as they leave, who knows, the next time we'll actually see them in person to try to remedy that communication we had with them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And always thinking of, what's the last thing I want my students to really hear me say? What do I want them to remember is so important. Adam, I saw a message actually on Instagram. It wasn't on Twitter, and it really hit me well. And I'm not going to say it in the same like eloquent way that I read it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. It was a post about how 2020 was actually the best year ever, and it was specifically for teachers. And it was like, this is a year that you proved to yourself that nothing would stop you from being the best educator humanly possible. That you had every single hurdle in your way every single day, sometimes every single hour. And you proved you got through the entire year and you are still standing and still asking, can I be better? And I think that really kind of reminded me of your chat. Your chat was about, you need to take care of yourself. You need to see the great work that you're doing, and you need to make sure you're still good so that you can serve others. And what are your thoughts on that mindset?
I completely agree. I think with educators this year, we truly have separated ourselves from other professions. We have said, okay, it's horrendous seeing some of these businesses have to shut down because they can't adjust because just the economy doesn't work for them that way. With education, we are not just teaching students like the content, we're teaching them life skills of saying, at any moment, we need to be able to adjust. We need to fit the system into what we have the capabilities of doing. So in everything you're going to be doing in life, you're going to have these opportunities to make yourself better. So the school year has shown that educators are taking the next step to become a driving force in not just social studies, math, science, but in every single life skill these kids are going to need. And educators have made that point. We have proven it. And as they may have heard the phrase before, we're building the plane as it's flying. We are doing that. We are making things happen that nobody could ever expect. And if anybody ever questions the commitment of an educator, we can just say, here's a 2020 playbook. You go for it.
I love that. I love it. Adam, I really like doing Mastery Chat recaps because I feel like we're able to dive into not only the conversation, but the meaning behind the questions we ask. And one of my favorite things to ask hosts after an epic hour of conversation that starts at 8:00 Eastern and goes till 9:00 Eastern over on Twitter is, what was the biggest takeaway? And I really would love to know. I mean, you facilitated an incredible conversation. Everyone still in the comments is like, oh my gosh, it was so fun. Thank you for all that you do, Adam. You do so much to support people. What are you hoping educators take away from this chat as they're concluding their evening?
The one thing I really want them to take away is it's okay to take time for you. Everybody assumes that educators are a 24/7 profession. But all we do is worry about our students, worry about things that we have to get done. But it's okay to have time for you. We are not robots. We are humans. We have feelings. We have emotions. When people are throwing this at us, throwing that at us, we are feeling the pain while not showing it many times. But yet it's eating up within us. We are human beings. We need to say, stop, let me just get off this bus for a day and I'll come back stronger if you give me 24 hours just to have time for me. I'll come back even stronger than I was being a school year if you just let me have a few hours to myself. And it's okay to do that. There's nothing wrong with it. We need it. If you don't get it, you're not going to be strong enough and powerful enough and the best for your students. Then if you say, I need to keep driving through this and I'm going to get it done, you're going to wear yourself down and the students are going to see it. And students are going to take advantage of it, and students are going to say, my teacher's not giving me my best. Why am I going to give my best to them?
What are those strategies for you? Do you have like a day of the week that you take off? Do you have blocks of time that you're like, I'm not working? Have you set up those structures for yourself, or is that something that you're still working through?
I'm still working through some of them, but a lot of times I say after like 4 or 5 o'clock, I don't check my work email anymore. Okay. I'm not doing anything like that because my focus needs to be on my family. I need to spend time through playing games through Zoom or other FaceTime or stuff with my nephews that I haven't seen that much. I mean, my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law, my in-laws. I need to take time for them because they're feeling everything I'm feeling too.
Mhm.
So the way I look at it is I'm still working on trying to set up a schedule. I saw one great thing. He says, I take a day to myself.
No.
I take a day. Like, I think it was Thursdays. Thursdays is my day. And
Yes.
it's okay.
Cody tweeted that. I
Yeah.
saw that and I'm like, amen. I love that he's like, I take a whole day. And he didn't
I
mean
take a whole day.
work. He just meant that he like made it a day for him. I love it.
I was like, I love the idea. So I'm like, that's something I really am like, I'm going to try to strive for something like that to say, you know what? I'll come home and my wife and I have been watching Little House on the Prairie. So I'm like, maybe that'll be when I get home at 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock will be Little House on the Prairie time, then relax for the rest of the night. So like, I'm fine with doing that stuff. I think that's what as teachers understand we need.
Yeah, absolutely. I say all the time, if I can block out a few hours to get a good yoga session in and hang out the dogs and, get the house the way I like it and, make dinner, like there is such a different feeling that I have going back into work, whether it be later that evening or the following morning, because I just got to refuel myself a little bit. And to be honest, Hans and Jennifer Apple always remind me of that. Like, and Lindsay Titus. I mean, these are people that are constantly like, knock, knock. Have you thought about yourself recently? Like, knock, knock, you need to be doing something for yourself. And I really appreciate having people in my life, similar to the question that you posed to the conversation tonight for Mastery Chat was, who's reminding you, who's holding you accountable for doing good for you,
Yeah, I saw the Andrea put accountability partner.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just love that. I was like, I just want that. I mean, it doesn't have to be for me. I have a great partner teacher, but maybe it's somebody else who is not directly related to me working wise. It could be somebody else in my building, but not somebody that I see for the 6-7 hours that I'm with them. It's like somebody else in the building to say, are you doing this? Are you doing that for yourself? And I want to thank Hans for actually nominating for that 7 days of like a picture of the life of an educator. Because it actually really did help me slow myself down and say, this is a moment that I want to capture and like share. So I want to thank Hans for actually doing that too. Actually, that's another way of self-care, just to reflect on what you actually do for the day.
Shout out to Hans. Love you, Hans. You're the best. So fun.
Yeah.
Adam, I loved this conversation. I'm so appreciative that you not only shared this insight with us, but oh my gosh, like I still cannot get over the fact that you took on this challenge of hosting a chat and doing all that preparation it takes. It takes such a long time to get those questions just right and to facilitate great conversations. There was not only the oldies that were a part of Mastery Chat, but new faces as well. And I loved being able to see all the conversation. If you're watching right now and you missed the chat, don't worry. People always participate in the chat like hours and hours after the fact. So if you want to come tomorrow, search #MasteryChat. You can see all the questions that Adam posted. Or if you don't have a Twitter, you can actually still see the questions and still consider them on your own by going to teachbetter.com/masterychat. And you can see not only Adam's questions, but all of Adam's contact information. Would you mind, Adam, sharing how people can stay in contact with you if they want to follow up with a few things?
Yeah, definitely. You can follow me on Twitter at ACOTTOS. That's my first initial last name. And I have a blog. It's mrcottos.com. So read some of those things.
So good. Head to mrcottos.com. You know that's going to be good stuff.
Yes. So I haven't written lately, but it's been a little bit hectic switching back and forth between remote and in person and remote and person. But we make it work.
I love it. And I appreciate you, Adam. You do so much for your students, I know, and I know you do so much for educators, but I see the work you do specifically with the Teach Better ambassadors. And I love every time you share. I love every time you're encouraging somebody. And I just really appreciate you as a person. Like, thank you for letting me get to know you. Thank you, even though you're Team Jeff. Thank you for letting me celebrate first Twitter chat with you. So awesome. For everyone else, I hope you join us next week for Mastery Chat. Remember, this happens every single Thursday, even on Christmas Eve. We are going to be here for Mastery Chat having great conversation. We also are going to be live tomorrow where Dave Schmittou and Livia Chan are going to be having great conversations on the Morning Daily Drop-In at 8:30 Eastern AM and all the good things that go from there. So thank you to everybody that joined us. Adam, thank you again for the chat. And we will see you guys later.
You're welcome.